My wife kissed my best friend at our anniversary dinner, so I made my own announcement. At our anniversary dinner, my wife set down her glass, looked me dead in the face, and said, "I'm not your property. I'm opening our marriage." The whole table went quiet. Before anyone could speak, she leaned over and kissed my best friend Brandon in front of both our families. Then she stood up like she'd just won something and reached for his hand to leave with him. My mom froze with her fork in the air. My dad stared. Her mother Teresa looked like she couldn't process what she was seeing. I stood up slowly and said, "Actually, I have an announcement too." Everyone turned to me. I pulled out my phone and held up a photo I took that morning. "Rachel is 8 weeks pregnant," I said, looking at Brandon. "Congratulations, you're going to be a stepdad." Brandon's face lost all color. My wife's smirk dropped so fast it almost looked painful. She glanced at him, then back at me, trying to figure out how I knew. I kept my voice calm and said Rachel called me at 6 in the morning, crying so hard I could barely understand her. She'd found Brandon's burner phone and months of messages between them. Hotel bookings, photos, love notes, everything. She'd even sent me screenshots while I was getting dressed. I spent the drive to dinner memorizing dates, hotel names, and card charges so I wouldn't miss a word when it finally mattered. Rachel wasn't just upset, she was furious, pregnant, and a divorce attorney. I told Brandon she had already filed and she wasn't playing nice. "She's going for the house, the business, and custody," I said, and she documented all of it. Brandon took a step back from the table. My wife grabbed his arm and whispered, "This isn't what we planned." He pulled away like her hand was hot. I didn't let them recover. I pulled out another paper and looked at my wife. "You know that promotion you've been pushing for? Your boss got a very interesting email this morning about company policy violations." She stared at me and said, "You didn't." "I didn't have to," I said. "Rachel is very thorough when she's angry." Brandon was already backing toward the door with his phone out, and my wife was suddenly less brave. I told them Rachel also found the joint credit card they opened for their little trips. About $30,000 in charges. My wife tried to talk over me, but I kept going. "Brandon's assets are being frozen, so guess who that debt lands on now?" Teresa finally spoke up and asked what I was talking about. I turned to her and said, "You may want to call your advisor. Your daughter used you as co-signer on an apartment lease downtown." My wife's face went white, and she stopped talking mid-sentence. Teresa pushed her chair back and said, "What apartment?" I said it was the apartment my wife used for her business meetings, and Rachel's firm was very interested in the paperwork because the application looked fraudulent. My wife snapped, "You can't prove any of this." I smiled and said, "I don't need to. Rachel has bank records, hotel video, and a private investigator you never noticed." That broke the room. My dad started laughing from pure shock. My mom grabbed her phone. My nephew was already recording under the table. My wife looked around like she expected someone to save her, but nobody moved. Then I said, "One more thing," and the room went quiet again. "Rachel wants both of you in her office tomorrow morning." I looked at Brandon. "She's talking about a civil suit too. Emotional distress, alienation claims, the works. She's asking for $500,000. Brandon stopped at the doorway and just stared at me. My wife stumbled backward and hit her chair. I checked my phone and added, "Rachel says her write-up already went live on her legal blog as a case study. 15,000 views so far." My wife's breathing changed right away. Short, fast breaths. Brandon kept trying to call someone, but his hands were shaking and he dropped his phone twice. I told them Rachel's firm handles high-profile divorces, and by morning, every lawyer in the city would know the story. "Good luck finding someone who wants this mess," I said. My wife sat down hard and started crying, saying this would ruin everything. I told her, still calm, everything was ruined.